Warning, the following program has been rated T for truth.
You can't handle the truth!
Oh, we think you can. Welcome to the Naked Truth Report with your host, truth warrior and mythbuster Kathleen Wells. The place where we distinguish fact from fiction, where data is used to drive points home, and where Kathleen takes the position that Democrats and black politicians have destroyed black America. Welcome to the Naked Truth Report. Now, your host, Kathleen Wells.
Welcome, my truth warriors and mythbusters. I'm so happy to be back this week. Last week, we played a repeat show. Why? Because we were at the Reagan Library, the Sean Spicer event at the Reagan Library. That was my first time there, and it was so fantastic. I had never seen it before, and it's very impressive. But what are we going to talk about this week? We're going to talk about the fact that we had, this pre-screening of the Dinesh D'Souza film, Death of a Nation. I mean, that event, first I want to say this. First I want to say the week before, or 2 weeks ago, I gave out the wrong link for people to buy tickets to the event. Now, that was a no-no, but we fixed it later because we had promos playing all through the week that gave the right link. And I'm so thrilled to say that we had a full house. We had a full house. It was invigorating. It was dynamic. It was engaging. It was dramatic because we had our panelists, which were four impressive straight black American men, I must say. This is a good thing. It was very, very fun. I enjoyed it. I am so grateful and so excited that I was able to offer my truth warriors and mythbusters an opportunity to be engaged in an event. It was a good thing. And we have an audience today. We have in studio today, not an audience. We have in studio today Bob Burchett, who was one of the VIP participants. He bought a VIP ticket. And, I'm true to my word. All my VIP guests will have the opportunity to come into the studio and either be interviewed or to speak or just come in and hang out, so to speak, and watch me do the show either way. And I'd like you to call in. In fact, I have the names. Let me see. I have the name. There were 19 VIP guests. I have your names. I have your email address. But if you're listening, could you call in and give my call screener, Brooke, your phone number, because I'd like to call you. I'd like to organize that to know whether you'd like to come in and just hang out with me, or if you'd like to come in and talk about something specific, or if you'd like to come in and just be interviewed or whatever. But if you could, so call in to the radio show. The number is 866 870-5752. Call in and give your information. I know your names. I have the names here, actually, because we're going to actually pull one out of the hat because they'll get to have dinner. They can bring a guest and have dinner with me. How does that sound? So it's all going to be good. We have a lot to do. We have a lot to talk about. I wanted to talk about Jim Acosta accosting Sarah Sanders. But, I want to get straight to my VIP guest because he's smiling. He's smiling. His name is Bob Burchett. He was at the pre-screening of the Dinesh D'Souza movie at LA Live, and he was one of my VIP guests, and he's here with me in the studio. Hi, Bob.
It's wonderful to be here. I am totally enjoying being with you.
I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here. You're our first guest. And what I want to ask you, Bob, is what motivated you to go to attend the pre-screening?
I can't miss being at a Dinesh D'Souza event. I mean, if that opportunity got made available, the South Bay Republicans, we're with the Torrance Lomita Republican Association. And I got an email from Claude out there, and everybody, this is such a great deal. You got to go. And so I could not miss that. Dinesh is my idea of the ideal, perfect American, an immigrant that comes to our country, and I know several. My wife's mom is a naturalized citizen. My partner is a naturalized Italian citizen, came to America. And when they come in and they jump backwards through many years of flaming hoops, and finally they get to put their hand up in the air and their hand over their heart and pledge allegiance to the flag, there isn't a dry eye in the building. I've seen those pictures. And when you get somebody like Dinesh, and he's here and he's giving back to America, and producing movies and showing how his adopted country is so great. It's very, very heartwarming. And you made a comment early on about the lady that decided to scale the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah, from the Congo.
Yeah.
And she called America in court. She said America is fascist.
Yeah.
This is a woman from the Congo.
Yeah.
Somehow somehow immigrants nowadays are confused. How did it get like this? I don't know.
I don't know what they're listening to, because here's a country that welcomed you, brought you in, offered you a hand up, and the opportunity is there to do good. If you don't do really well here in the land of opportunity, you probably got something missing out of your puzzle. But I'm not running their life. I'm having a rough enough time and running my own, so I try not to run theirs. But I watch that and think, there's a boat leaving any day now. Maybe we can help you get up a GoFundMe page and we'll help you out of town.
Mm-hmm. I mean, one of our sponsors is proenglish.org. And, I spoke about that with Stephen Gushoff about the idea that before when immigrants would come to the country, they would assimilate. But
yes.
Now it has changed. Since the 1965 Immigration Act, it has changed dramatically, particularly since in the 70s when we've had millions of people immigrating, not immigrating, but coming to the country illegally. And so you have massive numbers of people who are not assimilating. So things have changed dramatically, and it's had an adverse impact on Americans.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It makes, and we're always there for help. We're always there to lend a helping hand. And America's a helping and giving country. And to come in and take advantage of it like that, it's very hurtful and it's very unreasonable. And no, you don't belong at the front of the line because you came around through the back way. You do not. And these people work hard for this. I've heard the stories many times. And I had to pledge allegiance to get into this country. They learn the language, and they're proud when they learn it. And some of them come to me and ask me, help me with the language. I'm overjoyed to help them with the language when the opportunity presents itself. And so it is great to see people who work hard to become part of our society, and they appreciate it. And they learn the language, and they're the best of the best people to be here. We have lots of examples.
Oh, so, for those listeners those Truth Warriors who didn't have an opportunity to attend the pre-screening of Dinesh D'Souza's film, Death of a Nation, give us your thoughts about the film and about the panel discussion.
Wow, that's a big order. Dinesh put more history into that, compacted into that fragment of film. I mean, what was that, like an hour and a half, 2 hours, something like that? It wasn't long at all, really, but it was a chair hanger because he went through all the way from Lincoln through the wars and onward, and comparing, and his image on the front. It's a little hard to see it at first how he morphs Abraham Lincoln into Donald Trump, because he compares the two very highly. And he's seen through that, where the two of them dealt with very similar issues. Now, of course, they were 140 years apart, whatever. There's no question about that. And they dealt with different worlds. But they were both, as soon as they got into the limelight at all, the country began to split and fragment around them, and intentionally against him. And he brought that to light, and how the nation can die in front of you if and on Fox we watched, my wife and I watched the entire episode, all the episodes that they did of the how the Confederacy came about. We're both from Virginia. We're the half that went with the South, and that's why there is a West Virginia. Not everybody knows that. We have lots of wonderful relatives listening in West Virginia and Virginia. And this is, it's tough when you go back and you look at how the country tried hard to break itself apart, and Lincoln kept it together. And then you fast forward, 100 and some odd years, and now you have Donald Trump faced with, they keep claiming he's so divisive. In fact, they're having a little trouble with that. They don't know if it's divisive or divisive. It's the media that gives us our language sometimes, and sometimes they don't do it very well. But now that he's trying to sew the country back together, building opportunities for everyone. When I voted for Barack Obama, I was there available for me to vote for Barack Obama. And like that, I looked and I thought, this is going to be tough. I'm one of those old white guys he didn't much care for, and I thought, this is not a guy who's leading me to vote for him. So I didn't. Okay, but I know a lot of people did, and present company included.
Yeah, I did vote. I used to be a Democrat. In fact, my show used to be Democrat, and also it was re-aired when I was at KCAA, the Kathleen Wells Show. My show was re-aired on the Progressive Voices channel. So, yeah, something that LeBron James said is that Trump is dividing the country. Nothing can be further from the truth. These people, Democrats have, and I've also talked about how Democrats, a liberal ideology, 5 decades of liberal ideology has destroyed Black America. So the fact that we had panelists, 5 Black American, straight, I like to say straight, that's important because I think in the mainstream media, you don't see it that much. You know what I mean? Yeah. So we had 4 straight Black American men on the panel. They're impressive. Their voices need to be heard.
Very
because
much.
I think mainstream media has emasculated Black men and criminalized them. It's like you can either be a thug or a homosexual, not a married man and not a man leading a family or leading a community. That's what I get from the mainstream media, how Black men are portrayed. They're emasculated or they're criminalized. And so I think and that's not all Black men. That's not the majority of Black men. Not at all. Not at any stretch. But for some reason, the mainstream media and Hollywood likes to portray Black men as that. And it's very daunting, I think, because it's not an accurate portrayal. It's a stereotype.
And worse, I don't think there's anything doing Black people in general a more disservice than Hollywood when, because they claim, okay, they're not being inclusive and bringing more in. When they do, they're depicted as morons, just complete lunatics, off-the-wall nutcases, a lot of profanity, a lot of low class.
Yeah, just not quality
There is no
people.
reason for that. There is none.
But there's no reason for that. It's not something that is a positive image. It's not something that is someone you want leading your family and leading your community. And we are in my community, Black America, is in desperate need for Black men to lead their families and to lead their community. We are at the bottom when you look at the data, and this is what I told. We're in dire straits, yes. And as I said before, I did a show on liberal ideology. 5 decades of liberal ideology has destroyed Black America. And, the pendulum needs to swing the other way. And this is why it's so important that Kavanaugh is on the Supreme Court, because the Supreme Court has given us liberal ideology. They've given us the 14th Amendment, our birthright. The 14th Amendment is the birthright of Black Americans who are the direct descendants of slaves. And liberals have given away that birthright to transgender folks, to illegal aliens, to Eskimos and midgets and, everyone except us. It's just a false narrative. It's just, when Jim Acosta talks about the mainstream, Trump says the mainstream media or the press is the enemy of the American people. Well, it's definitely been the enemy of Black America, because as I said, they've emasculated Black men, they've criminalized Black men, and that's it. They only talk about Black men in prison. They never talk about Black America, millions of Black men having the necessity to have real wealth. They never talk about that. They just talk about Black men being in prison, as if that's the only, Black men are so one-dimensional, So things have to change, right?
Well, they're missing out on people like the Buffalo Soldiers and the people who fought and died for the country. They were in the Revolutionary War. They were called out during the Civil War. their ranks. They sat on the sidelines and waited during the Civil War for their chance to go fight and die to keep the Union together and to help abolish the slavery and help bring the country out and reconstruct and build. And they've been a major component of that. Gee, we kind of forget that, don't we?
Well, why don't they teach this in school? History teachers have been derelict in their duty. They've been negligent. They've been reckless and dangerous because this history is important. It's important. It's the truth. And that's why we like Dinesh D'Souza's movie, because they talk about, the parallels of fascism and liberalism.
That's absurd, where everybody's a fascist nowadays. They don't even know what the word means. It's not printed in the history books to speak of. They don't know what it is. And Dinesh brings this to the front and explains what is a fascist. This is important. When you get an opportunity to see this movie, the people that are listening out there, go see this movie because it will teach you what a fascist really was. And then you have to ask yourself, was this a right-wing conspiracy, something that the right-wingers, those guys like that? No, it was not. It was always the left. It was always that. And he explains it and he shows it. He shows how that started out. The word was literally invented there. I wouldn't want to spoil a fabulous movie, but that doesn't reveal the endings or anything like that. But the ending is positive because he's showing how Trump is going to help us unite the country, and that's our job to work along with it. We're part of the 63 million deplorables out there, all of us, everyone. There's the people, the Arthur Shoppers, the Claude Todoroffs, the people that are out there plugging in the street, and writing the blogs and singing the song and beating the drum. They're out there.
Okay, one thing I want to mention. Oh, you know what I'd like to do? I'd like to mention my VIP guests. I have their names now. I want to bring up their names. These were the people who paid for VIP tickets to come to the pre-screening of the Dinesh D'Souza movie. I don't know if any of you are listening out there, but if you are, I want you to know that you're a VIP. You paid for a VIP ticket, and that entitles you to come into the studio and either be on air like Bob is right now, or just come in and see how the studio is, how I operate when I'm doing a live show. And also, your name is in the hat to, and in fact, I'm going to have Bob pull out the name of who gets an opportunity to come to dinner with me, share a dinner with me, and you can bring a guest. We're going to do that in a second. But first, let me give the names of the so Bob is first. And then there's Antoinette Del Perel, Robert Evans and Dakota Britton, Cece Ferrari, Diane Gilman, Leela Hanks, Rupert Kiefer, Eileen Ludwig, Ashley Stiles Turek, Victor Rulas, Robert Scarluck, Rob West, Ronnie C. White, and Claire Weissman. Okay, so those are the names. If any of you are out there listening, please call in and give my call screener your phone number so then I can call you and talk to you about how would you like to come in? Would you like to just be interviewed about a product, your thing, or whatever? We can talk about whatever. Please call in and give my call screener your name and phone number. And the number is 866-870-5752. And if I don't hear from you, I'll be emailing you because I do have all of your email addresses, okay? The other thing that I want to talk about is that, I really, really, really love doing that panel discussion. And so we're going to take it bigger. We're going to make it larger. And I'd like to do the Democratic Party has destroyed Black America tour. That's a tour I want to do. So I'm looking for an underwriter, someone who would be willing to underwrite that tour. What we were going to do initially is that we have the poster of the Dinesh D'Souza movie, and we're waiting for Dinesh to sign it. He hasn't gotten it back to us yet with it signed, and we were going to raffle off that poster and the signed copy of the poster of the Dinesh D'Souza movie, Death of a Nation, and we were going to raffle off that movie, and that would be a start of us raising funds for our Black America has destroyed, the Democratic Party has destroyed Black America tour. It's going to be a national tour, and we'll have the same 4 guys that we had on the panel discussion at the pre-screening event. How does that sound, a tour, Bob? What do you think?
That sounds grand, and it's already downhill. Okay, it took only maybe 240 years to get the ball to the top of the mountain. Now it's down the other side, and it's starting, philosophically to roll that way. Because if you stop and look, just 2 years ago, for Donald Trump, you're a statistics lady. You enjoy those numbers, those real facts. Okay, black people thinking of Trump were 13%. Mm-hmm. Okay, today it's more than double at 29%. Mm-hmm. They know it. These are not stupid people. They Hollywood depicts them as idiots, probably can't read and write, barely manage lines on TV. They're stumble bums. There's no fathers in the home, blah, blah, blah.
The Democrats assume that blacks are stupid, and we have been stupid, let's be honest, because we keep doing the same thing. When you do the same thing over and over and over and over and expect different results, that's the definition of a fool. So we've been fools, but I say we've been fools because we've been bamboozled by our own people, by our black talking heads and politicians. They've bamboozled us and hoodwinked us. And many of us have now said, and particularly after Obama, who did nothing for black America, many of us have said enough already. Because I have voted for Obama once. But we have been bamboozled. We have been ignorant and stupid. And we haven't known the history. We believed everything we heard because our politicians and people like Obama were conning black America. But we're waking up now from that slumber that we were in. Yeah.
I was one of those guys, one of millions who thought, okay, he's our president. Let's support him. Let's get something done. No, I didn't vote for him, and I'm first to say that. But I also paused and took a deep breath and said, okay, now we're finally, at long last, we're going to lose this racist title that's been hung around our neck like Hitler hung the word Jude on the Jewish people's neck and stood them up on Main Street. So every one of us has got racist hanging around our neck. And finally, overwhelming majority, by various counts, blacks number around 13-14% of America. Obama won in a landslide, let's face it. So who voted him in? It was the old white guys, all right? So you got to give us credit, even if I wasn't one of them. Right, you got to give the old white guys some credit. Right. We may be crazy, but my kinfolk voted his bones in there. Okay, right. Now that he's here, we can lose the title. Right, it's gone. It's out the window. Do you know we never lost the title? We're still racists. Right. So wait a minute. Where's the payback here? Where's the friendship deal? Right. Well, the thing of it is that I think everyone has a different definition of racism, and I don't even use the term anymore because it's become so meaningless. It's a meaningless term, and everyone has a different definition, and it's just a easy, shorthanded way for people to stop the conversation. To end the conversation, just name call and call someone. They call Trump racist, misogynist, homophobic, Islamophobic. I mean, hello, who cares? At this point, it's like whatever. You're at the level of a 13-year-old adolescent name calling. That's shallow and superficial. We want political analysis. We want political analysis with historical context and data. We don't want name calling like you're 13. So to call people a racist at this point, who cares? Black folks call me like a bedwench, not so much now, but on YouTube or on social media, like if I say, I support Trump, they're like, you're a bedwench or you're a coon. Well, I don't care. Call me a name, whatever. Okay, I'm a coon, but I'm a good coon. You know what I'm saying? So that... but it's like, who cares if someone calls you a name? We don't care anymore. The bottom line is the economy. And who said it's the economy, stupid? The bottom line is that I want to see millions of black men with real wealth. Period. That's the bottom line. I don't want this name calling anymore, right? It gets old.
But and this is something that I can talk. I can talk about my community. Better than you can. And that's one of the things that, like Angela Rye on CNN, she always goes up against white men. You know what I mean? And starts that head shaking and eyes rolling and finger popping business. You know what I'm saying? When she's talking to she's not going to talk to a black woman like me like that. She will not do it. And the same thing with that Wendy whatever from Nigeria, first generation American. She's on Fox. How does she have the nerve to talk about racism? What does she know about racism? This woman just got here. Listen, and the other thing is, I want to see her receipts because her ancestors may have been slave traders. So how is she able to come to America and talk about racism? What does she know about racism? But you see, they always pit these people against. That's easy. That is so easy to put Angela Rye on CNN and this Wendy on Fox against a white man. And, white folks, they sort of feel tentative to be able to tell her, listen, you little girl, tell her off, like, or they don't know what to say. They feel a little tentative about it and anxious. But they wouldn't talk to a black person who's a direct descendant of slaves like that, believe me, who knows what they're talking about.
You can get in their face. You can do that. We're prohibited from doing that. You just said that. You're American Conservative 2.0. You're a spectacular version of this. And it's amazing. You have a special constituency that you're in with. I wrote down Brian Stryka. Okay, you mentioned the walkaway guy. Okay,
right.
He used to be progressive.
Right. Oh, I hear my music. We're going to take a break. And when we come back from the break, we're going to continue the conversation. We're going to open up the phone line, and we're also going to choose the VIP guest who will be joining me for dinner. You can bring a guest. I'm going to have Bob choose the VIP guest. I'm showing my Facebook listeners the bag with the names of the VIP guests. I'll have Bob choose the winner of a steak dinner. I love steak, but if you don't love steak, you can have fish or vegetarian or chicken. But I haven't had a steak in so long. But you see my stomach. Anyway, we're gonna take a break. We'll be right back with the Naked Truth Report and my VIP guest in studio, Bob Burchett. We'll be right back.
All success.
Oh, is it on now? Oh, okay. Okay, thank you.
That always helps.
Can they hear me? Oh, you guys can hear me? I'm talking to my engineer. But let's listen to Oh Beautiful, America the Beautiful for a little while, right? And my guest has his flag, his American tie on.
America.
I love that. We love that.
You need a pair of sunglasses. You gotta kind of do this.
Make God thy gold refined.
We gotta get black Americans to be more patriotic. We love America because we'd rather be here than in the Congo, right?
Anywhere.
That's Ray Charles. He sings that. He loved America. One thing I was thinking about that the black Americans, I was reading Frederick Douglass. Wait, let's listen a little longer.
Beautiful, far spacious skies, far amber waves of grain. Our purple mountain majesties, above the fruited plain. But now wait a minute, I'm talking about
America. Oh, we love America. You know why? Because this is the land of opportunity. This is the land of opportunity. Blacks couldn't go to any other country and get the opportunities they have here. So this is why I can't figure out why the woman from the Congo is calling America fascist. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't connect. It's not logical, right? She doesn't know what she's talking about. I mean, in the Congo, I saw a documentary on the Congo where these folks don't even have roads. And electricity isn't like a common occurrence. This is very sad, and yet she's complaining about the Congo. I mean, she's a little twisted, okay? Let me tell you. Okay, so what was I going to discuss? I forgot already. Oh, I wanted to mention that we're going to have we have another event coming up for my Truth Warriors and Mythbusters. And next month, we're going to have the big event for KRLA. It's going to be the town hall, the big event town hall. This is where KRLA listeners, there's like 3,000 listeners coming out to this big event. I will probably record the promo on that next week. And it's going to be all the big KRLA hosts there, Michael Medved, Dennis Prager, Hugh Hewitt, Larry Elder, Mark Levin. So I want my Truth Warriors to be there because I'm going to have a booth there. And this is an opportunity for me to meet more Truth Warriors and Mythbusters, right? So, as I said, I'll have a promo on, I'll record a promo next week on that. And I'd like to see more Truth Warriors and Mythbusters there. So what else were we going to do? Oh, I'm going to have Bob pull the name out of the hat of the VIP guest. We're going to do it right now. Drum roll, drum roll. We're going to do it right now. He's going to pull up.
He's got a drum roll.
Thank you.
You can't beat it.
We're going to pull out the name of the VIP guest that gets to join me with their guests for dinner. I'm going to have steak. You can have whatever you want.
All right. I'm going to dig around in here. Yeah. There's what, 19 names in here, huh?
Right.
All right, we'll sift through all these to make sure we give them a good opportunity. Okay.
Oh my gosh! I'm so excited. The name is Robert Evans. Isn't there a film director named Robert Evans? I don't think it's the film director or movie producer Robert Evans.
I hope you're listening, Robert.
Robert, I hope you're listening.
You got to be listening.
Robert Evans, if you're listening, you can call in. If not, I'll email you that you won the steak dinner with me and you can bring a guest. Okay? So Robert Evans is the winner. Now we're going to how do you feel about taking calls, Bob?
Ooh, that sounds like fun.
Do you want to take a call?
I did want to finish that one last thing, and that is that you're in a very narrow group of fabulous people. There's two people only right ahead of you. There's Charles Krauthammer. I mean, one of the absolute greats of all time, and you're right there with him. Why? Because he was a far-left progressive, hanging off the edge, hanging on by a fingernail when he began to realize it doesn't work. Right. It does not work. And the other one is our walk-away genius of today. That's Brandon Straka. And you're in that's the walk away from the Democratic Party guy, the hashtag walk away guy.
That's the walk away guy.
That's him. And I had to look that up because I don't know him or anything like that. But I've seen a few things about him. They featured him on Fox one day, and you are right in that company because it's good that you can look back. You voted for Obama once and recognized, now wait a minute, that's not working. And my hat's off to you. Mm-hmm. It really is cool.
Yeah, I mean, we were into that hope and change business. And Obama has charisma, and
you got that.
We were hoping
for change.
But we've learned from that. It's like, honey, hope ain't getting it. You got to do a little more. You got to have a specific plan. And I like that New Deal for Black America that Trump talked about. But however, he's gotten together with these pastors and it's sort of like morphed into this urbanization plan, which is not going to work. It's political suicide because that's grouping us in with all these other people of color. And then blacks end up being at the back of the bus again. We need to be specifically targeted because we are the only group that had not just slavery, but black codes and meritorious manumission and literacy tests and poll tests and Jim Crow. And, we're the only group that experienced that. And we're not, as soon as the Civil Rights Act was enacted in 1964, here comes the Immigration Act of the same year. It's just never been, we've never gotten our head above water as a group. Because now first, high immigration was keeping us down, and Frederick Douglass and Booker T. Washington and W. Du Bois and Marcus Garvey talked about that in the 1800s, and now illegal immigration is keeping us down. We don't have any neighborhoods anymore in Los Angeles. Watson, Compton, and Inglewood, they're gone. Those used to be our neighborhoods. It's just been one thing after another. But anyway, let's take a call now from, I'll let you choose. Don't say the number. I'll just say who you'd like.
Hey, you said that, let's see, there's a new one there. Okay, how about Tony in Santa Clarita?
Okay, hi. Can we have Tony in Santa Clarita? How are you? Welcome to the Naked Truth Report.
This Congo woman is saying that the Trump administration is fascist. Well, one of the main characteristics of fascism is mass surveillance, and it's the Obama administration that really doubled down on the Bush mass surveillance with the phones and the emails and the texts and all this stuff. And it's ironic that the Democratic Party candidate and the whole party system, the convention and everything, got all taken down by what they created with the mass surveillance and Bernie Sanders and everything. What they did is what took them down. If they hadn't created all that mass surveillance, they might have won. And now they can only blame themselves.
That's pretty brilliant. I'm impressed. And I'm not. This isn't even my show, and I'm impressed.
Well, I mean, we can't really disagree with you.
No,
I don't. They didn't specifically talk about mass surveillance in the Dinesh D'Souza movie, but I'm sure it was taking place because they knew who was doing what. They were surveilling people, and the one example was the German woman that they murdered or. And I don't want to say, is assassinated, would that be the right word? But the German woman who was trying to dispense information, this was shown in the movie, and I can't remember her name, that was trying to Go on.
There's a book out there called Little Brother. You should read that book, Little Brother. Mm-hmm. It's all about the mass surveillance stuff.
Right. So, they know they're eavesdropping on what you're doing. You see, we all know that was happening during during the Hitler era. People knew what other people were doing. They were surveilling on them. And that's something that, in fact, the Obama administration, I think under Susan Rice was like unmasking all of these individuals. That's how isn't that correct?
Yeah.
It's absolutely right.
And one more thing, I think all conservatives should vote for Dianne Feinstein and John Cox, because if John Cox wins and Dianne Feinstein wins, it's most likely that she will retire in a couple years, and then John Cox can control who takes her place. But if that other senator, Democratic guy, wins, he's going to be there for a long, long time.
That's Kevin De Leon. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. If she retires and Cox is in there, he could put in whoever he wants, and that person has a head start for the next election.
Oh, that sounds like a really good strategy.
Well said.
Yeah, everyone, thank you very much for calling in, Tony. Everyone vote for John Cox. Everyone within my earshot, please vote for John Cox. Okay, let's take a call now from Linda in Burbank. Hi, Linda.
Yes, Kathleen.
Hi.
I wasn't able to go to the presentation, and I don't know if I'll be able to see the movie, but I've been reading the book, Killing the Deep State, by Jerome Corsi. Have you read that book yet?
No, I haven't read it.
It's about, I'm already like I've read a third of the book, today and yesterday, third of the book. And he goes into how the deep state, wants to get rid of Trump, as a plan, just because Hillary lost the election. And there is a part where, the leftist magazine, The Nation, put in large print in white, mourn, resist, organize, onward. And basically they're saying, there's a part in there it says, we have to apply even greater pressure from the left to march in greater numbers, to shout out louder against injustice, to summon and be prepared to sustain everyday massive nonviolent civil disobedience on a scale not seen in this country for decades. And then it goes into how, like whether they're successful or not, the Democrats and the deep state will just, take over, what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Very profound.
What's the name? Killing the Deep State is the name of the book, and who's the
By
author?
Jerome Corsi.
Jerome Corsi. Well, I'm going to look out for it. Thank you, Linda, for calling in. Okay, let's take a call now from Keith in L.A. Hi, Keith. You saw the movie.
Oh, yes. I saw the movie, and I really enjoyed it, and I'm going to see it again tomorrow. But
You're going to see it again?
Of course. Well, I'm a teacher. You know me. I'm a teacher. So I have to be prepared. I've got to be very good at trying to disseminate information to students.
Mm-hmm.
I work with a lot of DACA kids. So anyway, trying to assimilate them as best I can. But here's the thing. I want to say this, is the best part of that movie, the most powerful part that I use, and I think needs to be emphasized. Of course, it doesn't get much play, but Dinesh did a great job in that interview with the alt-right guy. I forgot his name, but that alt-right guy, leader, and he sat with him and challenged him from the standpoint of ideas, and that's what we have to do more, especially in the black community. If you want to reach the black community, you think of what Frederick Douglass said. He considered the Constitution as the ship, the boat, the big liner ship, and he considered the Declaration of Independence as the compass. And you see, what we have done is that we have a broken compass. We have lost our moral compass in this nation. The Declaration principles, they apply to all men, but a lot of people try to say they don't. And so he challenged that guy by saying, do you believe that God has given us these rights, or do they come from government? So the guy he said that obviously he admitted he thought that they came from government. And this is what a lot of blacks and a lot of people are taught in our public schools, that rights are no longer inalienable. So that means that they become alienable because there is no God. God does not give us rights. So if they come from government, they become alienable. And this is the problem in our society today.
Okay. Really, thank you, Keith. I appreciate it. Now let's take a call from Valerie in Columbus, Ohio. And you want to talk about Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton. Hi, Valerie.
Hi. I do watch you as much as I can. I watch you on YouTube, and I had to count the hours backwards because I'm ahead of you.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I enjoy listening to you. And you did mention Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton, but they're getting paid by George Soros. All of them are in NAACP, but they did go to Mexico, both of them.
What do you mean they went to Mexico?
A couple years ago.
Oh.
I mean, we know that on this side of the country. I'm hoping you guys out there know it.
No, they went to Mexico and did what exactly?
Talk to the president.
They talked to what?
The president of Mexico.
Oh, I didn't know that. And
I'm quite sure they made an agreement with him. They're supposed to be concerned about the illegals coming here. Mm-hmm. But when they came back, they were more like, oh, well, Al Sharpton said, oh, well, black people will just have to cut the pie a little smaller. But then, I'm watching a documentary about the people of Peru, and you do have former slaves there that are African descent, and they even knew about it. And it happened to come up where they are totally just don't respect Jesse Jackson because they mentioned he was more concerned about Mexicans over there, but he should be worried about his people that are in third position in America. So everybody knows this now. Isn't that crazy?
Well, good point.
Yeah.
Yep. It's good we call these people out, and it's good you're calling them out, and you recognize that. That's really great.
Thank you very much, and I do watch C-SPAN as much as I can and try to call in.
Yeah, I call in too.
I heard you last week.
Did you hear me calling in? That's funny. Washington. We're talking about Washington Journal. I call into Washington Journal. Yeah. I'm not getting through to those folks because a lot of black folks keep calling in talking crazy. You know what I mean?
Isn't it sad? And you mentioned a similar point that I did. all these people coming in. The 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment was for native blacks only, and everybody's getting dumped into it. They don't qualify.
Yeah, I want to encourage. I don't know if many Black Americans are up early in the morning. I'm an early bird. I want to encourage more Black folks to call in the Washington Journal and talk sense to these people, because a lot of Black folks call in who are Democrats and they're crazy. They're just like name calling. Oh, Trump is this. Trump is sexist. Trump is crazy. Trump's an idiot. Trump. That's all they say.
That's true. And that's true. And I know that I guess the former. What was it, the Black Caucus guy that was there that got disgraced and left, back in 82, he had a list of a lot of blacks who signed for reparation. With that information, I don't know what they did with it, but I'm quite sure they used it for their own benefit. Mm-hmm. But they have a long list. What was he, out of Detroit? What is his name? I can't think of his name right now, but he's no longer there. He got shamed and had to leave. But there was a list, because I'm from Michigan, and he did get it from nationwide. A lot of blacks did sign it for reparation.
Oh.
But with that list that they had, I'm quite sure they use it for their own well-being.
Right.
So a lot of these groups are getting paid by George Soros.
Right.
All of them.
Okay, thank you, Valerie. Thank you, Valerie, for calling in. And what I want to say, I want to end with this. If Black politicians and Black talking heads and the NAACP and the Urban League with Mark Morial, if these people were sincere, they would have commissioned a study on how Black American has fared since the Civil Rights era. But they never do that. See, they don't talk about any data or anything. So anyway, we have few more minutes? We have 2 more minutes. Bob, give us your closeout.
Well, that's great. Thank you very much. I like the fact that in California we have a chance. We got John Cox, which was only like 5 percentage points below Gavin Newsom, and the decline to states. If they team up with Republicans, we can put John Cox in there. But we do not want another Arnold Schwarzenegger, who we got him in, but he couldn't do anything because he was surrounded. He couldn't go anywhere. But now, 52 out of 80 in the Assembly have an R beside their name, or at least they're not Democrat. And there's a chance we can sway the tide there in the Assembly. We got 29 out of 40 on the ballot for Senate. We got to get out the vote. That's the biggest thing. That's the main thing, is to get the vote out. Get these people, the big thing is during the midterms, the people don't want to get out of their chair. And we have an advantage, I think, because I keep referring to us old white guys. We're the ones that get out and vote. And the kids only come out once every 4 years. And it was Winston Churchill that says, if you're not liberal when you're young, you have no heart. But as you mature, if you're not a Republican, you have no brain.
We have no brain if we're not Republican when you're an adult. There's the music. Thank you for listening, Truth Warriors and Mythbusters. You know I love you, and this is my love song to you, to those with deep roots in America, deep roots in Los Angeles, and deep roots to California. My love song to you. I'll see you next week. And don't forget to check out the Town Hall. Thank you. Bye.